is 2 years back to
All
back.
right, fellas. Obviously, tough result today. Pretty big discrepancy between the first half and the second half. Kalib, maybe we start with you. What enabled you to be successful in the first half, and maybe how did that shift in the second?
I didn't play on my heels. The first half, I was aggressive. I did everything with a purpose. In the second half, I just started like second guessing, moving slow, not talking, and everything. So that was a reason why for my slow start.
What about collectively as a team? What do you feel changed?
Our communication in the second half. I think just as a team, we do good in the first half because like we're always on our side of the bench, so we always got help. But in that second half, when it's just like us, we kind of lose focus and stuff like that. We lost focus in the second half about shooters and digging in and stuff like that. So overall, just communication and focus.
And to Baylor's credit, I mean, they're a fantastic team too. MA, maybe can you get into that a little bit? What does Baylor bring as an opponent?
Sure. As you guys saw today, they shot the ball really well. For us, one of our main focuses was just trying to take away the good looks, stuff like that. But give them credit, like you said, they're the number 2 team in the country. So we just gotta execute better down the stretch and stop the bleeding and stop the runs. But I mean, other than that, you guys saw it firsthand. They just shoot the ball great.
All right, members of the media, if you have questions for Oklahoma State's Kalib Boone or M.A. Moncrieffe, please click raise hand and we'll try and get to everybody. Our first question is going to come from Jacob Unruh of the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, guys, for either one of you, when did you guys learn that you were going to be without Cade and Rondell today?
I mean,
I don't really know how
game time. Yeah, we really didn't know. It just came for game time. But we saw when we saw that, it was like we really didn't worry about it. It's just we still had eyes. We had Avery. We had people that can do the things Cade can do for us. So when we found out, it didn't make a huge difference, obviously. But it's Cade. But we didn't find out too late.
When you guys are without those guys, you're down to 8 players today. How much do you guys feel like you've grown, though? Because you really took it to Baylor for about 29, 30 minutes. How much do you guys feel like you've grown to where you can compete without Cade and Rondell?
I feel like you said, we competed well down the stretch. It was really just one really big run that we didn't do too good stopping, and that was really the difference in the game. We could have stopped that big run, and they just blew it open. But I mean, other than that, I really liked our chances. We was competing, like you said. I felt like we could have been more efficient on the offensive end, but defensively, we were all right. Our zone was really working, for the first half and the beginning of the second half. So it was really just closing out that run.
And finally, for either one of you guys, what is the last 12, 13 days been like going through the quarantine and having to not practice, and then you have 2 practices before you get to play the number 2 team in the country? What has that kind of been like? Walk me through that.
I mean, it's been how has it been for the past? I mean, since Big 12, the Big 12 tournament last year where we all had to go in quarantine. I mean, we missed playing basketball for a little bit. When we got on the court, we was anxious, we was excited. I mean, just because we was in quarantine, there's no excuses or nothing like that, because that was the number 2 team, and we was up 4 before at the end of the first half. So I mean, there's no excuse. It's just on that one is us. But I mean, having 2 days to practice, you get prepared for Baylor, which is a great team. You shoot the ball, lights out, have great role guys, and compete with them for the first half, and in the second half too. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better, honestly, other than the win.
Awesome. Thanks, fellas.
Our next question comes from Robert Allen from Triple Play Sports. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, Kalib, a couple of weeks ago, you were on the Zoom with all of us and talked about how you were your game was kind of struggling. You really weren't able to get in sync. In fact, you were kind of even accused yourself of misleading yourself a little bit. Since then, you had the good game against K-State. You guys get the big win against Kansas. You go into quarantine, and you get the start today with Cade out. What's changed? Because obviously this was special. This was your career high points, but also tied your career high in rebounds. You felt it today. Talk about that.
I mean, it was just the fact, like I told y'all against K State, man. Like for this whole season, I basically feel like me personally, I feel like I haven't done everything I need to do for my team. I've been holding back. So, like obviously Baylor, playing any team in the Big 12, man, you just excited and you always want to like play with a chip on your shoulder. But me, I was like, man, I'm gonna go ahead and play free. Honestly, regardless if Kay was there or not, Rondell was there, I was just gonna play free, and that was the one thing that helped. Like Coach Mike for these last few practices before we had to go in quarantine, and the last 2 days have just encouraged me and always talked to me. He's telling me, man, you get it down there. I need you to go score. You got to go score. You're a good player. So he's giving me more confidence. I put confidence in myself because I mean I'm still here, so just confidence mostly.
Within the game, you talk about Baylor being such a good outside shooting team, but they've got some guys that can really rough it up inside. I mean, and they were today. They got into a little bit of foul trouble, talking about Vital. You seem to be willing to muscle right back with them. In fact, a couple of your buckets were what I call muscle up baskets.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I don't like when people think because I'm skinny, I get punked. Like that's the one thing I hate, honestly. I've been here for a whole year, like for 2 years, going on 2 years, and I've seen Azubuike, Culver at West Virginia. I didn't play against some guys that weighed almost 50 pounds, like 50 more pounds than me. I always know how to hold my own. So today it was like, man, like, okay, they're strong. Can they move like me? So I showed them I can move. I can run. I can jump. And that's what my guy M did over here too. We're not we don't have the biggest bigs in the Big 12, but I mean we can run. We can jump. We're quick. We got footwork. So that's how we use that to our advantage.
Thanks, guys.
Next question comes from Chris Becker from the Ocali. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, MA, obviously not the outcome that you guys wanted, but you had a double-double in this game. Can you kind of talk about, how you were able to step up, missing Cade and missing Rondell, but, you got your time to shine today?
Sure. Obviously, with Cade out, other guys have to have big games, so it's me coming in. I know whether I score a lot, score a little, I was going to have to dominate the glass, which I thought I kind of did. I finished with 10. But ultimately, that was just my focus, just stepping up as Cade and Dell weren't there, But ultimately, it was I still take it as a step forward. It's good for me, but ultimately, we want to come out with a dub at the end of the day. So that's our end goal.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Our next question comes from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Caleb, we talk about, you having a career high in points tonight. You also had a career high in minutes. Coming off of that, long extended rest, how did you feel conditioning-wise coming off the floor?
I mean, I felt great. Believe it or not, during quarantine, I kind of like went up on weight, and like I told y'all last year, I mean that's a big thing with me. When I'm up on weight, I feel like I can run for days and stuff like that. So that played a huge factor. But just the energy, just because Rondell, Cade, Mr. Farron didn't play, and they gave me energy, and MA and like Ice, and the people that were playing gave me energy. So that's another reason why I was able to keep going and running that court when I was tired and stuff like that.
And then for MA, what was Mike's kind of message to you guys before the game? Obviously, only having 8 guys, didn't have Cade. What was his message before the game?
No shows. Everybody got to step up.
All right. Appreciate it, guys.
Our next question comes from Myron Medcalf from ESPN.com. Go ahead, Myron.
Yeah. So why exactly was Cade out? What were you all told about his absence?
I mean, they didn't really tell us much, man. Coach Mike just told us, like, doesn't matter if we have them or not. We're going to go out there and compete. That it was really just that, all that being said.
Our next question comes from Frank Bonner from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, man, I wanted to go back to what you were saying about the rebounding. You guys started real strong effort-wise and offensive rebounding in the first half. You guys had 9. How much of that played a role into the first half start for you guys?
No, it was huge. I feel like that was the focal point because we know they're a great defensive team. But we felt we had an advantage offensive rebounding, like you said. So that we scored on. I don't know how much of it we scored, but that was a great second chance opportunities for us. And then we rebounded on the defensive end too. We were plus 12 in rebounds at the half. So that was a difference for us. I feel like in the half, regardless if we were hitting shots or not, we was rebounding. So we just got to carry that out through 2.
And then this one's for Kalib. Looking at some of the good things you guys did do, especially in that first half, being as shorthanded as you were, what does that say about this group for you guys to be able to come out and compete that way, knowing you were out with Wandale and Cade?
I mean, like we said against Tech, we played Tech, like we said against Texas, like we said against Kansas. I mean, bro, like this team, we're gonna fight regardless if we're winning or losing. Like we're just gonna fight regardless if we got 7, 6, 10, 11. Like you throw a number out there, you tell us how many players is playing, we're just gonna get out there and fight. And like Coach Mike said, man, when we see stuff like that, no shows, and everybody did what they needed to do.
Thank you.
All right, and our final question is going to come from Danielle Dwyer from Fox 25. Go ahead, Danielle.
I'm just curious, guys. There's been a couple games in your losses that a run is kind of the difference maker. I mean, that's what's separating it. What do you think is the biggest challenge, especially with such a young group, to eliminate those moving forward?
So it's really today it was evident. We just in our zone. They got a lot of open looks. That was it. We didn't take away those open looks from them in the second half, and that was really what led to them. And then we weren't scoring on the offensive end, so it was really that was it. We just couldn't get stops, and we weren't efficient on offense. So that was really what led to it. And you guys saw the results. So going forward, we just gotta execute better on the defensive end. I feel like in the zone and stuff like that, we just gotta lift higher and take some of their good shooters out the game. So that was it for us.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that'll do it for questions, but maybe you can take us home here. Just one final thought, one last message, whatever you feel is most important about today, whatever you feel is most important about this team. Kalib, we'll go ahead and start with you.
In my honest opinion, man, I feel like people just we're fighters, man. Like honestly, like no matter what team it is, who it is, I don't care if they got 3 NBA future NBA players, whatever. We're gonna fight, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. No matter who the competition is, y'all know us. We hate to lose. Y'all hear it every time when we take one. So I mean, we're gonna fight regardless if we get the recognition or not, and we don't really need it because we're just dogs like that.
All right, MA, same thing. What's the most important thing?
Going forward, I feel like there's a lot of bad we could take away from this game, obviously, but there's a lot of good. I felt like we competed with them for the most part. I felt like we were right there until the last run, like you said. So going forward, we get our guys back full strength. I feel like honestly we're a better team than them. So. That's the way I feel going forward, and that's a good mindset going into the next games and the next time we see them at their house. So.
All right. Well, thank you to both of you. We appreciate your time and we appreciate your insight.
Sir, appreciate y'all.
Coach, obviously tough result today, kind of a tale of two halves. What was it that allowed the team to be successful in the first half, and what maybe changed in the second half?
Baylor's really good, first and foremost. They've been really good. Picked them to win the league because I thought they were really good, and they got experience, depth, and they got an All-American who stepped up and really, created the separation for them. I thought in the first half we did a really good job because we took care of the basketball. We didn't turn it over a ton. We got to the offensive glass and were able to score. We were able to keep them out of transition a little bit better. And then we did a really good job when we had them under control in the half court of getting to their shooters. And I think they only made 4 threes in the first half, and 2 of them were just on bad communication. So we did a really good job defensively and rebounding in the first half and taking care of basketball. And I thought for half of the second half, we actually hung in there. There's no doubt that part of it is, we were gassed. We just weren't able to sustain it. And that's not an excuse, it's reality. And you to beat the best team, I think they're certainly in a conversation of being one of the best teams or the best team in the country. You got to play it for as close to 40 minutes as possible. 29 to 30 minutes isn't going to get it done, and give them credit for making a run when they did. But I was pleased with our guys' effort and focus coming off the shutdown, and I'm glad we're able to get back out there, and I believe they are, right? One of the best 2-3 teams, maybe the best team in the country. And if that's true, I also like our team a lot. I think there's a lot to be said about us being able to go out there without unquestionably our best player, and certainly another guy who has been a big contributor for us. And again, for 29 minutes, we were toe to toe, and they made a knockout blow to us here in the last, that 10-minute to 5-minute mark of the second half, and put us away. And that's a really good team to do. We fell short today.
So before we open it up to questions, you referenced Cade being out. Why was that?
Well, again, a lot of this stuff I'm not in control of. We're following the process that's been put in place by not only our university, and our trainers and our med staff, but our league. And he's not been able to practice yet. And so today in warm-ups, he was actually cleared to at least do some physical activity. And so he went out there to warm up, but he's not in any position to play a game right now. And we'll find out tomorrow if he can do a little bit more in practice, and we'll continue to go from there. But, our first and foremost priority is to make sure that we keep these kids healthy and safe and put them in a position that not only do they help us, but we help them, not only while they're here, but long-term.
All right, members of the media, if you have questions for Oklahoma State coach Mike Boynton, please click raise hand and we'll try and get to everybody. Our first question is going to come from Myron Metcalf from ESPN.com. Go ahead, Myron.
So Mike, it sounds like you're saying that this may have been COVID related. And if that's the case, why was Cade still on the sideline?
So there's a time period here in which you aren't allowed to be around. And then at some point that time does pass. I mean, he doesn't have to stay away from our team forever, but it doesn't necessarily mean that when he's around that he's able to play or that he's been in our preparation and can help us. So we're kind of in the middle ground. We're working our way back. And we're just going to continue to follow the guidance that our medical team has put for us. Again, nobody wants him to play more than I do, that's for sure. But there's a difference between him being unavailable to play and him being able to be around our team.
Hey, Myron, just to maybe clarify here a little bit, Coach, if I heard the opening statement there right, it sounded like essentially the doctors had cleared him. It's just a matter of getting him back right conditioning. It's not a matter of contagious. It's a matter more of conditioning than anything. That's kind of the way I understood.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of layers to this stuff, and without getting into too much personal information, right? The kid and his family trust that we're doing the best thing for him, and obviously all the other guys for our team and their children as well. Obviously, we understand the significance of wanting to know more detail about Cade because it's him. But we treated all these situations the same. There's a time frame where guys, depending on what their status is, are allowed to come to practice or are allowed to be in a gym or allowed to participate in games. And he's not yet to the point where he can participate in games. He's to the point where he's able to be around our team and hopefully in the next couple of days be able to practice with us again.
All right, our next question is going to come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Mike, when were you aware that he wasn't going to play? Did you come in today knowing he wasn't going to play?
No, not really. I mean, I kind of had an inkling, but you don't know. I mean, a lot of this is day to day. I mean, some of it's less day to day than others, but with this particular situation, we test pretty often and we get results. I mean, pretty frequently, and the information you get from those results tell you where you are. And so I knew there was a possibility that he wasn't going to be able to play, but I don't know necessarily until we continue to test and get more information where we are and what activities they are able to be a part of. And that goes for all the guys, not just him.
What is the status of Rondell?
I don't know yet. We're trying to find out more information. He hurt his arm there, and so we're trying to figure it out. And obviously, again, the same. We're trying to let our medical people do the evaluation and see where he is. Same for him. He just got back to practice yesterday, so I'm not sure how much he would have been able to play for us today anyway. And so we'll take it day by day. There's a better chance that he will be able to practice sooner than Cade will at this point, but that could change tonight. I mean, we never know. Tomorrow we'll test again, and we'll know more information about who's available for Monday.
So did Rondell hurt it in warm-ups? I'm sorry, I don't know if I misunderstood that or not.
I'm not sure yet. I actually just learned about it here. So we didn't have shoot around this morning. So I don't know at what point he actually got hurt. I didn't see any of the guys until I was in the locker room and got told that he's having some issues with his arm and that we need to do an evaluation. I think he's with our doctors now.
Our next question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jacob.
One more. Sorry, Gavin. When you have these two guys out and the way you guys played today, how much has this team grown that they can do this without Cade and Rondell both?
Yeah, and I mean, I'll stop short of saying we can do it without them. We lost. But I'm also of the mind of I'm an optimistic person by nature anyway. And I know there's a lot of people probably out there questioning why we didn't get the job done. Hey, they're really good. We lost to a really good basketball team. But like I said before, we went toe-to-toe with them and led for 6 minutes of this game. And if we can continue to get performances like we did today from MA and Kalib, when we get everybody back, I think this team's got a chance to be competitive and beat anybody that we play in the country.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Our next question is going to come from Frank Bonner from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Mike, with everything that you guys have dealt with this last week and then coming into this game, missing some players, how do you feel, what are your thoughts on the way your players have been able to handle all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing that goes ignored the most is, and I get why, right? We're out there, so why aren't you playing your best and why aren't you winning every game by 20? It's not realistic, right? The kids, first of all, are trying to play in the middle of still what is a pandemic. Now, we want them to and they want to, but this thing has been a challenge for all these guys, for our staffs and our families. I mean, so I'm proud that the guys have shown a good attitude and some resolve, and they really went out there and competed like they expected to win. Now, we came up short. We played against a really good team. But I like where we're headed. I like where our program's headed, but I like where this team, particularly for this year, has a chance to get to as we continue to move forward and practice and get better. And I'll just know the timeline so everybody can understand. Once we shut down last week, basically last Thursday, because we were off Wednesday after playing, we weren't together at all as a team until we had a couple guys be able to come back Wednesday. We had a couple more guys able to come back Thursday. And by the time we went to practice yesterday, we had 10 guys that were able to practice, and that includes our walk-ons and GAs. So that we were able to go out there and play the way we did today with very little prep against this team gives me a lot of optimism about where we're headed.
And then Kalib, he's had his ups and downs, but being shorthanded, you needed him to really have a strong start, and he did that for you. What do you just think about how he was able to come in and deliver for you?
He was huge. To be honest, it's what I expect from him. What I've got to get him to understand is we need that Kalib every game. We don't need it just when he thinks there's an emergency going on. We need him to be that guy every day. And it starts by being that guy every day in practice. Obviously, he's one of the guys who have been able to practice the last few days. In his preparation, he was pretty focused on, he knew he had a big challenge, and he rose to the occasion and stepped up and performed well. And again, if we can get that kind of performance from him and MA, when we get those other guys back, I like what we can do this year.
I want to switch gears for a quick second. Obviously, the 20th anniversary of the Remember the 10 is coming up, and when the tragedy happened, you weren't here, but you've embraced the duty of remembering those 10 lives. I just want to ask the significance and the importance of being the head basketball coach to continue to do that, and also making sure that your players who come in and out of the program understand the importance of what that means to this culture.
I've said this before. I'm not sure there's anything that we do here that shows what Oklahoma State athletics, university, Stillwater is than the way we honor those families. It's a terribly tragic situation happened. And to make sure that their memories never go in vain is really, really important. And every kid that comes in our program will always know that as long as I'm the head coach. They'll always understand the significance, the sacrifice that was made, and why we get a chance to still play. Those families still support this program unbelievably. And I'm thankful every day that I get to go out there and see that statue in our lobby, and that we do what we do every year to make sure that they know that they're still in our hearts and our minds.
Thank you, Mike.
Our next question comes from Robert Allen from Triple Play Sports. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned you got gassed. It's not an excuse. It's just a fact when you're shorthanded and you're playing a really good basketball team. They had that 19-1, 15-0 run there about the middle of the second half. Where did you think the gas, coming out, where did it show up the most? Closing out the threes, just in the pace of the game, going to the glass? Where from your viewpoint, did it hurt the most?
We let Jared Butler get loose 3 straight times.
Yeah.
And we kind of had him, we didn't have him bottled up, but we had him in front of us most of the night. And that's where it showed up and it started because we didn't take care of the basketball as well. They were able to get out in transition. And then we didn't communicate because we got guys defensively. So he's running the baseline against our zone, and our backline guys weren't talking. He makes 2 threes in the corner, but he also made a couple of them that were tough overhand. He did what really good players, All-Americans do. They step up and they make plays when their team needs them. But I just thought overall, we weren't as sharp offensively. We weren't as aggressive in transition. And part of it is it's hard to be aggressive in transition when you don't get stops. They're a little bit deflating when you play good defense and they make 1 or they make 2 or 3 in a row. And so I think a lot of areas, I have to go back and watch the film to really identify the run itself and what all the plays that were happening what happened there was. But a lot of it had to do with us just not communicating and then turn the basketball over and giving them easy ones in transition.
And Mike, at the same time, your team stopped the run. And if you look at what they did from, I want to say it was about the 6-minute mark, the rest of the way, it went back to being, I didn't think it was an even game. I think you guys were gaining back, but how does that make you feel? The fact that you closed out, not defeatist, you closed out competing.
Our kids played with incredible heart today. I mean, they played cowboy basketball today. They played with the type of effort that our fans have come to appreciate from watching Coach Sutton and Coach Iver's teams and what is expected of them. At the same time, it's hard to win games even from ahead in this league, as we've learned. It's even more difficult to come from behind against a team like that when they've got some momentum. So I'm proud that we didn't we didn't allow it to deflate us. But I'm also not happy that we put ourselves in that situation. The key always is, how do we respond? We got a pretty quick turnaround here. And a team that's struggled, everybody would say, but certainly is capable. They played Baylor well when they played them in Ames. And so we've got to make sure that tomorrow we come back, be able to put this one behind us, figure out what a game plan needs to be to get ready to go up to Ames and try to play a little bit more of a complete game up there on Monday night.
Thanks.
Our next question comes from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Mike, sorry to keep harping on this, but was running Cade out through warmups, was that kind of just to get him as many reps as possible? Was that some gamesmanship to maybe say, hey, Baylor, he's playing? Kind of what went into him warming up?
No, I mean, today was the first day that he was cleared for physical activity, but he couldn't play a game having not practiced. I mean, so he needed to be here, but he couldn't play. Like, I wasn't going to play him. Like, I'm not going to make him dress and then be tempted to put him in when they're making a run. I'm not doing that. So the thought is today was a good opportunity for him to maybe get some reps, shoot some balls, which he has not done in a week plus, and get his heart going a little bit and see how he feels. And tomorrow we'll see if he can do a little bit more. And then if he can do a little bit more, Monday, maybe he can do a little bit more, and we'll continue to evaluate it as we go along.
The way you've kind of talked about this, it seems like he's maybe doubtful for Monday's game with him just getting back in.
I mean, sitting here, I would say it's 50-50 at best, but I don't know. We test tomorrow. Who knows? We got to know the game's going to happen first, right? So I try not to think about all those other things. Right? What can I do today? And today I need to go home and watch this film and try to figure out how the next time we play Baylor, not to give up a 19-1 run, and then turn our attention to get ready for practice tomorrow and how do we get better.
This might be something that you have to watch the film first, but I struggled today. Obviously, Baylor's a good defensive team. Is there something that you saw that kind of went into those struggles for him?
Well, Ice has struggled. Partly, they're really good defensively. The way he wants to play isn't necessarily ideal, especially with having to be a guy that initiates the offense pretty much all the time, right? We didn't have Cade to take some of that pressure off of him, but he did a lot of other good things. He took care of the basketball for the most part. He rebounded it. He defended really well. Just didn't make shots. He's dealing with a little bit of a nagging foot, but he certainly was able to play today and went out there and gave us everything he had. So I have to go back and watch the film to see where we can help him a little bit better. But you know, some days you don't play your best. I mean, certainly without Cade and Rondell, we needed him to play a little bit more of an efficient game. But you have those type of games. We just couldn't really afford it today.
And then last thing for me, the guy said your kind of pregame speech to them was no-shows. Can you kind of go into what that means?
So when you're down, I mean, it's one thing, right? And there's no question, Cade's our best player, right? So if we have a guy not really play well, he has the ability to kind of render that as a little bit more insignificant. But when he's out and he's not there to do it, we don't have to have guys. We didn't need anybody to step up and score 30 that wasn't capable of it. But we had to have everybody that was going to play, when they played, bring something to the table. And I think that was exhibited in Kalib and MA particularly. But I thought Avery gave us some good minutes. I thought Bernie gave us good minutes. He didn't play a ton. He made some mistakes. But we just didn't need anybody to totally lay an egg and have a no-show completely, not be good on defense, not give us anything offensively. And so everybody brought what they could bring to the table. We just didn't do it long enough to win today against a really good team.
Thanks, Mike.
Our next question comes from Chris Becker from the O'Colly. Go ahead, Chris.
Coach, MA got his first double-double of his career. You know, how did you see? What have you seen from him as a growth perspective? You know, from the beginning of the season to now.
It's the process of learning college basketball and learning college basketball at the highest level. It's the highest level of competition in our game. The Big 12 is the most competitive league from top to bottom in the country, and it takes a while to get adjusted to that. And one of the things that he's got to continue to do is have that motor revved up and going and not get so complacent and comfortable with his skill being able to play on the perimeter. Because as he showed, I mean, he played against some really big physical dudes in there today, and he was a man himself. And so it shows that he's starting to embrace how he can have success as a college player at this level. And we certainly need him to continue to do that if we're going to continue to have success as a team.
And then what's your message to the team to kind of stay positive going into this short turnaround game?
I don't think it's that difficult, guys. I mean, we just played. Again, I haven't seen Gonzaga live. I've watched them on tape. They're sensational. If they're better than Baylor, it's not by much. So we played against one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country. And for 28 minutes, we were just as good as them. And that was without 2 of our better players, right? So if that's the best team or second best team in the country, we got a pretty damn good team. And I look forward to getting everybody back and rolling and helping us the way they can. Because, I think we can line up against anybody and put ourselves in position to really make a run at this thing.
And then final thing for me, you were able to get Dean Mitchell some minutes, the first game back after he earned a scholarship. Kind of give us an inside look of what that means to you and, and him to get some minutes in this game.
Well, I'm glad he had the day off from work, first and foremost. And he was able to come and be at the game because he hasn't been able to be at all of them. And obviously, considering the circumstances, it wasn't like a charity. I didn't throw him in there because we were up 30 and I just was trying to give him minutes. He's capable of helping us. He's earned it. He knows what we're doing. He's not our best guy, but he's not going to do anything crazy. He's not going to really put us in position to lose. He's not going to lose the game for us. But we needed some depth there in the backcourt, and he was able to provide that with some spot minutes. And as he continues to maybe be able to practice a little bit more, then he'll continue to be able to help us with those other guys' improvement. And who knows? When his number's called, I feel very comfortable. It's not a deal where I'm worried about whether he can help us or whether he's going to hurt us. I feel totally comfortable. He's not going to do anything to put our team in peril.
Thanks, Coach.
And our final question is going to come from Danielle Dwyer from Fox 25. Go ahead, Danielle.
Yeah, Mike, I just wanted to ask you about Kalib. Where have you seen his, mental shift as the season has progressed, or because I feel it's maybe more than just physically. It seems like he's definitely gained confidence as the season's gone on, but have you felt that shift, or has anything kind of stuck out to you about that?
There is a physical component. He does have to get stronger. He's got to put on some weight. There's no doubt about it. He's banging against guys that are 25, 30 pounds more than him. But he's got to commit himself to doing that. The mental part is much more significant, though, because he's shown flashes. It's just, and I talk to him about this all the time, no one cares what you can do every now and then. People want to know what they can count on from you. And he hasn't gotten to the point where he does it consistently yet. And when that happens, then he'll become a really good player and one that he can make a lot of money playing this game because he does have a pretty good skill level. He's a really good athlete, but consistency is the key for him. And he hasn't found consistency yet. But today is a positive day. I'm going to try to build on it, and hopefully he can be better at practice tomorrow. And maybe we can put back-to-back games like this together for him on Monday.
I was going to say, this has to be like an anxious feel, coming off this game, even though just looking at those silver linings of today, there was really one glaring problem was the run. But as you've mentioned time and time again so far in this presser, a lot of positives. So that's got to be, are you anxious to not look ahead of these games, but to go to Waco now and on February 20th, hopefully full strength, seeing what you guys were able to do today?
I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm not looking forward to going to Waco today. That's for sure. All right. I am excited about what we can become. I am. I really do feel good. Not that we lost. Again, I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but that under the circumstances, again, I want to go back. We didn't practice Wednesday last week. Thursday, we found out we had some issues. Friday, we confirmed those issues. We didn't practice. I didn't see any of these guys until Wednesday, and I didn't see all of them. I saw a couple more on Thursday. We practiced with about 7 guys. On Friday, we had 10, and that includes walk-ons and GAs. So, for those kids to come out there and play against a really good team, but they made a run at us that we couldn't respond to. But there's no doubt. Anybody who knows basketball, who's watched this team, we've gotten better. We continue to get better. And when we get hold, if we can get healthy and everybody back, I like our chances moving forward. And I'm not just talking about the future. I'm talking about this season and what this team can become ultimately.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, I think one of these days, a long time from now, you're going to look back at this season and just be amazed at the flexibility that was required to just purely function.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, a lot of this credit goes to our administration, right, for trying to come up with a plan and give these kids a chance to play, and for the most part, to protect us from a crazy breakout here within our program. And we haven't had that, but you deal with other things, right? Farron's been in a cast until Wednesday. You know, Avery, Chris and Donovan are out, and, you know, you just deal with stuff on top of a pandemic. So absolutely, flexibility, the mental toughness that our kids have shown to continue to fight, come to practice with good attitudes when we've been able to. I'm really excited. So one thing I am looking forward to is watching this film, putting this one behind us, and getting ready for Ames on Monday.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time. We always appreciate you. We always appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
Thanks. And members of the media, thank you as well. We appreciate you.